Okay, so it is a Wednesday night, and I kind of feel like I want to sit down and talk more about some good old Batman comics. So let's go ahead and sit down and finally talk about Batman Dark Victory. Now, this is technically the sequel to Batman The Long Halloween. And here's the thing, because I have never read this book until, well, last night. And so it's kind of cool because we're now getting into the whole idea of another holiday killer being out there and Batman watching Gotham change, where it was a city being ruled by all these different mobsters, but now it's being controlled by all these different villains who have powers or some kind of crazy thing going on with them, like Joker, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and of course Two-Face, Harvey Dent. Now, with Dark Victory being a sequel to Batman The Long Halloween, we're still in the early days of Bruce Wayne being Batman, but also Bruce Wayne getting his first official sidekick, talking about Dick Grayson. And so in this video, I'm going to cover the first two chapters of Dark Victory, issue number 0, and of course, issue number 1, to kick off our coverage over this particular storyline. So with this storyline being a sequel to Batman The Long Halloween, we're really picking up with Batman kind of giving us a rundown of what happened in the previous storyline. The whole idea that the city was being controlled by Carmine Falcone, the biggest mobster in Gotham City. But on top of that, there was a killer out there known as the Holiday Killer. Now, the Holiday Killer was somebody who was going out of their way to kill off different people who were family members or somebody working for Carmine Falcone on every single holiday for one single year. Now, we have learned that there were two killers, one being Alberto, the son of Carmine Falcone, and also Harvey Dent's wife. Now, when it comes to Bruce Wayne, he has no idea who is the second killer. To him, it's just Alberto. And matter of fact, after you have Batman kind of give us a rundown about what happened in The Long Halloween, we actually jump over to Alberto, one of the holiday killers, the son of Carmine Falcone. And when it came to Alberto, in our last storyline, Alberto was captured by Batman. He was arrested, and the thing was, he was supposed to die in the gas chamber. But even though his father is no longer around, it does seem like his dad is still able to help him even from beyond the grave, because with Harvey Dent no longer being around, we now have a new district attorney, and that will be Miss Porter. Now, when it comes to Miss Porter, her goal right now is to kind of get Alberto out of prison. And so as she was looking over his case, she kind of realized that he was badly beaten by Batman to the point where he no longer had feelings in his arm. And so for her, she's kind of like, I can kind of use that as a way to possibly get you out of prison. Now, you also have Alberto trying to apologize for what he has done. But either way, she does leave to go meet up with, well, Jim Gordon. Now, when it comes to Jim Gordon, I kind of forgot to mention that in my last video for The Long Halloween, Jim Gordon was not the commissioner of Gotham City. By this point in Batman's timeline with Dark Victory, he is. Here's the thing, because now with him being commissioner of Gotham City, he now works long hours. So unfortunately, he's not really able to spend time with his family, where of course it does bring in some issues between him and his wife. Now, with that being said, for Miss Porter, when she does confront Jim, she tells him like, hey, listen, I am going to reopen the Alberto case. Now, he tells her that is a bad idea. The dude is a killer. But the thing is, what she is going to do is use the whole idea of Batman being around. With Batman being around and beating down on Alberto, his civil rights were totally violated. And so she can use that as a way to get Alberto out of prison. Now, right after that, you then have Batman appear. Now, for Jim, it's him expressing like she's a bull in a china shop. Like, unfortunately, he will not be able to work with her because what she's trying to do in Gotham City. But also, it's Jim telling Batman, like, I can no longer protect you. Like, if she comes after you, she will come after you. She will try anything she can to bring you down. And for Bruce, he's now being more cold hearted, but at the same time tells Jim, you don't have to. And he leaves. Now, before he does leave, you have Jim express that he's very upset that Batman is not really showing any kind of expression that he feels sad about the idea of losing Harvey Dent as a friend. But the thing is, for Jim, he doesn't know that Batman is truly broken in his heart that he did lose a friend like Harvey Dent. And so as we dive into chapter 1, we're kind of given the origin of Bruce Wayne all over again, but a tad bit different here. Like, yes, you're seeing Bruce Wayne's parents be killed off in Crime Alley. That always happened every single time when it comes to his origin. But you're also being reminded that there was a point in time where you had Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas, go out of his way to save the life of Carmine Falcone when Carmine's father was running the whole entire organization and took his son over to Thomas when he got shot. And so it's Carmine telling young Bruce, like, hey, listen, if you ever need a favor, you know who to come to. Now, we also have to remember that back in Batman The Long Halloween, there was a point in time where Harvey Dent believed that Bruce Wayne was the holiday killer. And the only reason why? Because that one time Thomas had saved the life of, well, Carmine Falcone. But as we get back over to the present day, we're really picking up with Batman watching over the Falcone family as they came together to celebrate the birthday of Carmine Falcone, who of course died back at the end of Batman The Long Halloween. Now, with all that being said, when it comes to Batman, he also realized that Sophia is there. Now, when it came to The Long Halloween, we were kind of left to believe that Sophia had possibly fallen to her death because, well, she did fall out of a very tall building, but somehow she had survived. But the problem is she was severely injured, and so she missed the actual funeral of her father alongside her two brothers, Mario and Alberto. Now, Mario is out of the country. Alberto, of course, is still in prison. Now, for Batman, he also sees Selina Kyle there as well, and trying to figure out, like, why in the world is Selina Kyle there for? Like, what is her end game for her being there? But it's also Batman kind of recognizing the different characters who may or may not become very important for later parts down the road in this storyline. Like, for example, you have Umberto and Pino Maroni. You also have Edward Skeevers, Anthony Zucco, you have Lucia Vitti, and you have Bobby. These different characters may or may not become very important for later parts down the road. But again, it's right now Sophia kind of upset about the fact that she had lost her father. Now, it's also her kind of pointing out that Gotham is slowly changing, that it used to be run by mobsters, but now you have all these different freaks, as she calls them, popping out left and right. Joker, Mr. Freeze, and, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy. It really does upset her a lot. And her main goal is to bring balance back into the city. Now, while you have Batman just watching over the entire gathering, he is caught by one of the guards. And so, of course, it does kind of lead into this situation where you have all these different guys trying to bring down Batman. Now, Selina Kyle was there in her regular human outfit, but you didn't have her change into her Catwoman outfit to supposedly and maybe help out Batman, but in the middle of the shootout, you have Batman being able to save her life. Now, you do have the police arrive, which of course allowing Batman and her to get away. But here comes the big problem though, because even though the police did arrive, all they caught were the small fishes, not the big fishes when it comes to, like, the entire Falcone family. They were able to get the smaller family members, not the big timers like Sophia. And so it really does bother Jim Gordon a whole lot that they were not able to get the big ones in the entire family. Now, the following day, we do pick up with Bruce Wayne right now just in the pool trying to relax. Of course, he's then confronted by Selena Kyle. Now, for Selena, she did not come alone here. Matter of fact, she brought Mario Falcone with her. Now, when it came to Mario Falcone, he was deported. Now, we weren't really told why he was, just know that the judge did not really like the Falcone family that much, and so, of course, he was sent away. But Mario is now back in the country again. Now, for Mario, he's trying to work with Bruce Wayne here because, well, the import company that Carmine Falcone had along Halloween is now belong to, well, Mario. Now, when it came to the import company that Carmine Falcone had the long Halloween, it was him trying to use the banks as a way to launder his money. And so for Mario, for Bruce Wayne, he's kind of like, I had this weird sense that you're trying to pick up where your father had left off at. But it's also Mario saying like, hey, listen, Bruce, like I was told by my father that my entire family is in your family's debt for what your father did for, well, my father. And so I'm trying to, pay back what we owe. Now you have Bruce say like, listen, your debt is already paid, and he walks away. Now for Selena, she's kind of upset about the fact that the way Bruce acted as well, but also kind of like, girl, you brought Mario to my house unannounced. That right there is not really cool. Now, in Chapter 0, we were kind of given a tad bit of information about Jim Gordon's, life, where he's now the commissioner of Gotham City, or the police commissioner, but also like he now has some issues with his wife. Now, Chapter 0 did not really give us that much information. Chapter 1 tells us like, no, it's really bad to the point where she's no longer staying at their home with their child. She took their child and currently somewhere else. And apparently they're having a hard time talking to one another. Every single time Jim calls, she does not want to talk to him. But you do have Jim be interrupted by Miss Porter, who reminds him that they have a long drive ahead of them. And we kind of find out that for Jim and also Porter, they went over to Arkham Asylum. Now, when they had arrived, they are then confronted by Mario Falcone, who's there to kind of see, is there any kind of update on his brother's situation, where apparently a judge now going to look over the case of Alberto Falcone to possibly get him out of prison. Now, you had Jim express like, this is insanity. Like, this man killed off a lot of people. He should be locked up. But again, the Falcone family, they got their money in the right spots to help them kind of get out of tight situations like this one. Now, you do have Porter tell Jim, like, listen, I understand you don't like it, but the thing is, I don't really care. And the thing is, you have to work with me. You're going to hate what I have to do, but at the same time, I don't really care. Now, while you have Jim and also Porter walk around Arkham Asylum, it's her kind of telling us that her main goal is to fix everything that Harvey Dent did wrong when he was district attorney. But on top of that, for Jim Gordon, he's going to find out that when it comes to Porter trying to get Alberto out of prison, it's no longer just like, hey, you know what, Batman, violated his civil rights. No, it's now the fact that she wants to say that he is insane to hopefully get Alberto out of prison. And that's just the first step as her new job as district attorney. Now, they do walk by the cell that belongs to Two-Face, kind of hint at the idea that Two-Face may or may not play a major role in this storyline. Now, when we do switch over to Sophia Falcone, we see her meeting up with two sons of Maroni from the previous storyline, The Long Halloween. And now, when it came to Maroni family, they were second to Carmine's Falcone family as monsters in Gotham City. Either way, it's now the kids trying to work together. But for Sophia, what she wants to do is take a hit on Harvey Dent on Halloween night on the anniversary of the murder of her father. Now, she also clarifies you have to make sure nothing happens to my brother Alberto, who's also still in prison as well. Now, the lights do shut off, but of course they come right back on. She made sure the roof is well protected from uninvited guests, where her butler does walk in and he does have something that maybe Batman or Selena Kyle used as a way to scale the building. But now we have to switch over to Jim Gordon, who's now meeting up with Chief O'Hara. Now, when the two characters do meet up with one another, it's the Chief handing Jim a list of names. Now, we're not really told what names are on that paper, but apparently their main goal is to not just make Gotham better again, but make it better for the cops as well. Like being a cop a good thing all over again. Because for Chief O'Hara, he remembers a time where being a cop in Gotham wasn't that bad, but everything changed when the Waynes had died. And so unfortunately, ever since then, no one looks at the GCPD in the right way ever again. Now, with all that being said, you also have O'Hara tell Jim, you need to talk to Batman about our plans. But later on that night, you do have Batman and Jim Gordon meet up with one another. Now, this is Jim informing Batman like, hey, listen, so Miss Porter, she's planning on releasing Alberto. Now, for Batman, he does say like he doesn't care, but not really. He has his own plan set out for him if she does kind of go out of her way to release Alberto. But for Jim, he kind of realized that Batman is hurting right now because, again, Harvey Dent used to be their friends. They were working together to hopefully bring down Carmine Falcone. Unfortunately, things did not work out for them. But either way, you do have Batman leave. Now, you do have Batman just standing on a nearby building where you didn't have Selena Kyle confront him. Now, when it came to Sophia earlier telling the Maronis like, hey, you know what? I want to take a hit on Two-Face, Harvey Dent. Well, Selena was the one who was trying to scale up to the roof where, of course, she got hurt, but she overheard the conversation. And so this is Selena telling Batman like, hey, your friend Harvey is in danger at the moment. Like, they are planning to take a hit on him. Now, for Batman, he says, like, I have no friends. He's not my friend. But for Selena, she's kind of like, dude, did you hear what I said? They are planning to take a hit on Harvey Dent. You gotta do something. And so you do have Batman pay Two-Face a visit. Now, this is Batman trying to get Two-Face back on the right path again by saying like, hey, listen, Two-Face, you have the ability to kind of shift your life back to where it was, to get your face fixed. Like, let us help you. But for Two-Face, he doesn't want that kind of help at all at the moment. But while you have the two guys talking, you have Batman realize things are popping off right now inside Arkham Asylum. And so for Batman, he knows he has to get to work. And so you have Batman go out of his way to figure out what exactly is going on. Now, there are a bunch of explosions happening all over the place. And so, of course, you do have a few characters being able to escape. Well, they try to escape, like Solomon Grundy, Poison Ivy, Mad Hatter, but you have Batman being able to stop them. Now, there are some other problems here. Because for Joker and Scarecrow, they were able to escape, but it kind of seems like somebody helped them get prepared to help them escape from the prison. Now, you also kind of find out that Alberto, he didn't escape. Matter of fact, he stayed behind to keep up the image of an innocent man. But Harvey Dent and the Calendar Man, they also got away as well. And so for Batman, it's kind of wondering where in the world did they go to? But you do have Batman pay Sophia Falcone a visit to kind of figure out if she knows where Harvey Dent is at. And of course, she doesn't. But she also kind of tells us how seriously her injuries were. Like, she can't walk. She can't turn her head at all. Like, she's stuck in that wheelchair forever. And so she's kind of hoping that Harvey Dent will get killed off for what he has done to her family. And so now we jump forward to November. Now, when we do, we're picking up where basically Alberto is getting out of prison. Like, Miss Porter was able to help him out to get him out of prison. And so now he'll be a free man once again. But while you have him and his brother getting into their car, somebody does come behind Jim Gordon and say, I'm going to watch over Alberto very closely. Now for Jim, he has no idea who that was. And things get even crazier because when we jump over to Sophia, somebody had broken open her father's tomb and left behind a finger, one of his fingers, inside her office to kind of send a message. Someone intends to take everything from her piece by piece. Now, for the district attorney Porter, we do learn here that somebody had broke into her office and they took everything. Now, when I say everything, I really mean more all of Harvey Dent file cases. Someone took everything he did as the last DA. But you didn't have Batman and also Jim Gordon find the dead body of Chief O'Hara. Now, when they do find his body, there is a message left behind. First, there's a picture of a hangman, but at the very bottom of the message, it says, none of you are safe. And so we're kind of left to wonder where this story could possibly go next. But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.